Hello. Thanks for participating. Oh my God. Let's read it for participating.
Participating. There we go.
It's actually my very first interview in English. So I will read a lot of the questions. So it's International Diaper Free Week 2019. We wrote that last year for the very first time in Germany. We're trying to make it international, so that's why I reached out to you guys. And would you share some words for the viewers who don't know you yet?
You don't know us yet. Okay, do you want to introduce yourself, darling? Or should I go first?
You go first.
My name's Tony Riddle. I'm known as the Natural Lifestylist, which is basically a guise for rewilding. I found that with the term rewilding, people weren't really connecting with it at the time, whereas now it's becoming more and more mainstream. But at the time, I think it was creating a bit of a barrier with people. So I suddenly found myself under the new title of the Natural Lifestylist in the press, in the papers, in the magazines. And then it just started to take off, and it was really interesting. Just a change of branding, just the name of it. And that it made perfect sense. We have to almost restyle nature now for people to reconnect with it, you know? And so in terms of rewilding as a coach, for me, it's looking at the natural world and the natural people of the world to find ways of living that are more in tune with our biological norm, if that makes sense. So that's kind of where I'm at with my philosophy and my coaching. And it's just to look at more physical, social, and spiritual ways of reconnecting with nature. And then the all-encompassing is like the holistic approach is then emotional well-being. So provided we get our physical, social, spiritual needs met appropriately, then we can have this amazing emotional well-being macro state that we all love talking about. So that's where I'm at. Yeah. There we go. Over to you, darling. There you go.
When Tony and I, when we met, I think what we had in common was both of us, we were sort of inspired by nature, and we were looking for answers in nature, and we were trying to find how to improve our lives by following what would be normal in nature. So then, of course, when we had our first daughter, we were always in tune, like our parenting styles were always in tune together, because we thought, well, co-sleeping is normal in nature, we should co-sleep. Breastfeeding is normal in nature. And even though, you know, at that stage with first child, we were still challenged by family and friends. And so the journey was, you know, we were evolving as parents. With each child, we were more and more relaxed, but we were open to it. We were basically open-minded, and we liked those ideas about natural parenting. So, and then we decided to homeschool. So that's where I am at. I'm at home with our children because they don't go to school.
That's cool.
And,
I love that you have the possibility that they are allowed not going to school.
I know, it's not allowed everywhere,
Yeah, it's crazy. It should be.
Well, you can, but at the same time, you can understand why, you know, because for some families it's not possible. They don't quite understand what that means to unschool or homeschool, and it's not always possible. But I think hopefully what comes out of the fact of the families that are unschooling and homeschooling is that people can see the huge positive impact of that, and then maybe that will challenge the current educational model, and that might then bring around change within the conventional educational model, which I almost see happening today, you know, with forest schools and other approaches are starting to creep in and trickle in. And then hopefully that unschooling approach, forest school approach, Steiner, Montessori will start to then become the mainstream change that we all want to see in the educational model, because then we probably wouldn't need to unschool or homeschool, you know, if there was an environment like that, because it's an amazing thing for a kid to be able to go into that environment, you know. But I certainly feel that if we look at, say, the Scandinavian model where it's a bit later, that would also make more sense, where, you know, children would go a bit later into that kind of formal education.
And also parents don't have to face the dilemma whether to stay at home with children or go to work.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Yeah, just starting to have the chance to decide. You know, like in Germany, it's just not allowed. You doesn't have the chance to decide by your own if you want to homeschool. You just have to put your children in a public school. So that would be nice if there would be in some countries a change.
Make it international.
Yeah, yes, right. Well, so I heard, as you have 2 kids, have you practiced elimination communication with both of them?
No, we have 3 children. We have 3 girls now. And with our first 2 daughters, we were sort of aware of the possibility of diaper-free babies, but I think it was me who wasn't just ready for it. You know, mentally, it was just too much for me. So, but then I read the book, The Diaper-Free Baby by Kristin Groslow. And I thought, if I have another child, I will definitely give it a go. So then when we expected our 3rd daughter, I kind of researched it and we were prepared for it and we said yes to it. So so we tried the method with our 3rd daughter. But then what I found out later on, that even with our first 2 children, even though we weren't like consciously trying the method, we were still quite open-minded, because our 2nd daughter at 18 months, she ripped her nappy and she said she wants to go to toilet because she had older sister. And what would be conventionally described as she wasn't ready, because nothing went to toilet and everything went on the floor first 3 weeks. I basically thought, no, I don't care people describe her as not ready. She is ready because she mentally wants to do it. So in a certain way, I was communicating with her the strong need of giving up on nappy, and she would rip it during the night. She was basically at 18 months, that was it. And I just left her. And I didn't follow any method. And she basically, I would say, potty trained herself.
Wow.
And by 20 months, I think, she was completely reliable, very small amount of accidents. And by the age of 2, even during the night, I didn't have to wash any sheets anymore. She was done. So it was, you know, in a certain way, it was certain communication with the child. And with our first daughter, I was trying all those conventional methods that you have to stay at home for 1 week and give children sticker each time they go on potty. And I just got bored with it. It didn't make any sense to me. I just got bored with it. And when my daughter was 2, I just said, I just let her. And I just left her. And within 2 months, she was dry. Yeah.
So you would agree that elimination communication is not another method of potty training?
Here's Tallulah.
I love it.
Hey, Tutu. There we go. Just me now. You just have me for a bit of time.
Yeah.
There we go.
Let me just, you know what? I switched to another question that is actually for you. So
Okay.
we use that. All right. So you know a lot about the physical human nature, I would say. And what are your thoughts on the importance of elimination communication?
Well, what do I think on the importance? Well, just seeing how we raised Tallulah. We were in a different climate, so that also helped, where we were living in Ibiza, and just the environment there is more enabling. So, you know, we had terracotta flooring, tiled flooring everywhere, so things were just much easier. But what I witnessed from the physical side of things, which is just about empowerment again, isn't it? So I found that Katharina initially picked up on all the subtle signals. But what I felt happened there was that those subtle signals that Katharina picks up on, Tallulah then realizes that she can hear her. And so those signals start to get stronger and stronger, so that then that reaches out to the rest of us. So I could hear that, I could see and hear her signals. The rest of the girls could then see the signals. And then as time went on, then everyone can start to see the signals. And what you're doing there is basically helping your child understand that they're being heard. And so I think that's really empowering. I think that's very transformative for a child, you know, at their early stage, to say, yeah, we can hear you, we're listening.
It's the communication, because the newborn baby gives us signals when they want to feed, and they give us signals when they are tired, and we can pick up on those signals before they cry. So I would know when to feed them before they cry. I would know when to get them asleep before them cry. And I notice, you know, sometimes with my first children, I would like, why are they unhappy? You know, I just fed them and they're not tired. And it would be that little moment when they just need to be picked up, and when they have to be in a different position that helps them, you know, anatomically, they can easier go to toilet, basically. And so many times people would say, well, there is nothing wrong with the baby, it's just binging, don't pick the baby up. But I think that little binge is probably the baby just has gas or needs to go to toilet, and they need to be picked up. They need to be, it needs to be communicated.
They need a little reassurance as well, isn't it?
Yeah. So I think on the level of communicating with the child, you grow amazing skills by observing them. Secondly is you avoid nappies, plastic nappies, which is amazing change for the environment.
For the environment, so it's better for the human, isn't it? And then it's better for the environment. So you're proving to them that they're being heard. You're then enabling those innate abilities to get stronger and stronger and stronger at an earlier stage. And then again, as Katharina says, it's great for the environment, right? I think
also it's not good for children to have plastic around their bums, right? Yeah. Nobody would enjoy it. And I actually feel sorry for 1-year-old children when I watch them walking, and I just have feeling the nappy is just in their way. And you know, sometimes the nappy is full and just like it hangs up to their knees, and I just feel sorry for them. So it was just nice to watch my children when they were nappy free, and just to see the freedom running around the house, running in the garden. You can see they can climb better, they can sit better, and it just makes me feel better watching them not to be in that heavy nappy, you know, that restricts them once they start walking. So I guess that's rather important as well.
Yeah, from a movement capacity, definitely.
Yes. That's a question I hear a lot. Like, what's wrong with the nappies? You know, why shouldn't they wear them?
Well, we were discussing earlier, weren't we? We were discussing about cloth nappies that we probably grew up in. Yes. And it was different then, because it was seen, it would get wet, and then it would be stained, and then the mothers or parents would want the nappy off, and then there were probably more periods of time when the child didn't have anything on. You know what I mean? So they were, whereas now, the convenience of a disposable nappy, but it's not convenient, it's hugely inconvenient over time, not looking at the bigger picture. And I think that's the problem. For a simple, quick solution, great, but you're disempowering your child, right? And you're dumbing them down, and you're telling them that you're not listening, you know? And then, as you say, what are we doing? We're conditioning them, right?
Okay, well, I just first want to go back with when people ask you what's wrong with the nappy. I guess just if somebody created adult-sized nappies, every adult should try it. I mean, honestly. And then every adult should try what it is like to sleep in it, to walk in it, to have clothes on top of it. Some parents stick children into jeans on top of the nappy. Everybody should try it. And then we shouldn't assume that children feel differently to us. They don't.
Yes.
And like Tony now mentioned, they put up with nappy because they're conditioned to be in a nappy. But if they truly, if you maybe ask, let's say, imagine in an imaginary film, you ask a 3-month-old baby, you give them wig without nappy and wig with nappy, and then you ask them, what would you prefer? You know, why should the 3-month-old baby prefer to be in a nappy? They experience the freedom without it as much as adults do. So yeah, it's basically we condition them to be nappies because we don't give them any other choice.
Yes.
Yeah, we basically, like it was described in the book, the child gives signals. They don't know at the beginning what's going on. They have body feeling of elimination, but they don't get picked up. They don't get taken above a potty or to a toilet. So they don't have any other choice, and they just have to do it in a nappy. So they get communication from an adult. I want you to be in a nappy, and I want you to do it in the nappy. And that's what they get conditioned into. They understand that's what I'm expected to do by the adult.
And that becomes their norm.
And that becomes the norm. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So that's why they don't complain about it.
Yeah, they don't have another chance.
They don't have another chance.
What we make them to do.
Yeah, there's no choice.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So you never use backups, like any closed diaper or disposable diaper, when you felt like that's a situation I would like to feel safe, no accidents.
Oh, going out, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, with my third daughter, when I went shopping, and because I carried the baby in a sling, and I was just too afraid to risk it, to be covered, to go outside and then ending up bed. So if I went outside and I had baby in the sling, I would use those biodegradable nappies. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure whether, because in what countries they are sold, but they're produced by a Swiss company.
Yeah.
And they're made of corn husk.
Mm-hmm.
They're fully biodegradable, but they are so expensive.
But if you're using them as a minimal thing and as an emergency,
we used like one pack for 3 weeks. One pack lasted us 3 weeks. It was just for going out. And many times I realized I had it as a security in the sling, but then the baby woke up and I fed the baby and I would take the nappy off. Mm-hmm. And I would use the potty for the baby, and then the nappy was dry and I would put it back on the baby again. So sometimes I used one nappy for the whole day. Yeah. Because I knew I need to unpack it. Yeah.
So you didn't.
So that was my choice, yes. But then there are there are better options like cloth nappies, and there are even like cotton nappies made in the shape of a nappy, so to make it convenient. So that's a nice option for parents as well when they're worried about getting wet in the sling. Yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Oh, how beautiful. I like that. So you definitely can say the baby was still giving signals, maybe even more signals while being in a sling close to you. So they won't.
They will. Yeah, they will give even more signals. And once I watched, because, we think about people in Africa and in poor countries, and we think, well, is it easy for them if they get wet? Because they're surrounded by nature and they can just take the baby in any bush around them, right? But once I watched the documentary on people living in Siberia, where it's cold and they are in clothes and the baby is in clothes.
Multiple layers.
And
right?
those mothers were so determined, the people who live traditional way, they were so determined not to get wet, paying exact attention to the children, and they would do it even in cold climate. So, if I was really determined, maybe if I didn't have older children, maybe if I had more support or someone, someone showing me or teaching me. Yeah.
Hey.
Hello, baby.
Oh.
Super. How old is this one? 7 months?
7 months, yes.
Wow.
Yeah. I also have 3 girls under 3 years. I'm a little crazy.
Great work, huh?
Yeah. Let's see how she's doing. I'm just watching. Yeah, it's hard for her when I'm not next to her while she's sleeping right now. So it doesn't take long. Still she's waking up.
Yeah.
Watch. Okay. So, oh my God, her face. Yeah.
And what's her name? Sorry, what's her name?
It's Malu.
Malu.
It's Hawaiian for peace.
Okay.
Yes.
Super. It's Tutu. Are you going to say hi to Luna? No? Okay, here you go.
Okay, let me do it. So you would definitely agree it's not harmful for the kid to practice elimination communication, right? I feel like a lot of people are afraid they would harm their kids. It would be dangerous in early potty training or something, while not doing the convenient way by putting on a diaper and let them down and watching pooping.
Well, what I liked about the book, the communication, was the emphasis on you are trying to communicate those needs. And of course, different people live in different conditions, and you know, it's more difficult when we have more children. It's probably more difficult when it's cold or warm. But I like the term of part-time. How did they call it? They call it like a full-time and part-time. So the full-time is like you never use a nappy. The part-time, yeah, well, I use nappy when I go out, but when I am at home, we don't use any nappy, you know? Or let's say, let's use nappy for first 5 months and then let's give up on it. So, you know, I like the idea that is, that people don't have to be fanatical about it, but they should try and, you know, go for as much as they can.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's about empowering the child, but you want to be doing that in the appropriate environment again. So if the environment is that you've got to go out to dinner and you're taking your child with you,
you don't feel confident, then
the baby's then got your energy that's not confident and your anxiety. So you defeat the object then, because they're picking up on your anxiety and your feelings, because they're emotionally connected, aren't they, in the early stages? So for the baby to be really calm, it would be much more empowering to say, well, we're going out, we'd be a part-time diaper-free family and have the child in a diaper, right? Makes more sense. Mm-hmm. Is it dangerous to have your child out of nappies? Of course not. I mean, how would we have survived for 400,000 years as sapiens without using nappies? I mean, that's like, if it was dangerous, we wouldn't be here, I guess. So
the only thing that could be dangerous is to show like being upset or angry if a child has accidents,
and not even call it an accident.
Yeah,
you know, it's just part of the learning process, isn't it? They're learning.
I think if the child does pees while sitting on mommy's trousers and the mom gets upset or angry, I guess that could be the danger. But if mom accepts it or doesn't even pay attention to it and just, you know, gets on with it, I don't think there is any danger in it, really.
Well, I guess if you're getting upset about your child weeing on you or messing on you,
then it's best not to do it.
Then you're probably not the right parent to be doing it. Do you know what I mean? So, because you've got to fully commit to, I'm doing this to empower my child, you know?
Yes.
And you have, and then you accept that's part of that process, you know?
Mm-hmm. So yeah. It's a relationship. It's still a relationship, and both needs are counting. Like,
yeah.
It's all about needs. Yes, exactly. And the closer you are to getting your needs met, the more emotional well-being you experience as a being, right? The more disconnected from your physical, social, spiritual needs, the more suffering occurs, you know? So get your needs met and you remove suffering. I think that's a nice way of summarizing that, you know?
Yeah. Okay. Wow. So let's see. It's so cool. You answered so many questions without asking, but I have to skip you a lot of. Just.
I have that experience when we did an interview together, and I had all these. I'm going to ask this question, this question, this question, this question. Then within like 20 minutes, I forget about the questions. That's just moves along like that.
Talk about it, right? Yes, that's it. When we were talking about a relationship, what would you guys say? How important is the partner, the dad, the mom? You know, like how would you say? Is it important to be on the same path and having the partner as a background?
I think that's very important. Yeah.
Yeah, otherwise it's conflicting, isn't it? You need
Otherwise,
to basically be on the same journey,
yeah.
almost the same path.
Or it can be painful if one partner feels certain way and they feel like, okay, I have to persuade the other one. So they, you know, there is the burden of having to persuade the other one. Or it must be very painful if one of the parents feels split between the opinion of the other parent and between what they feel like that the child should be brought up. It can be, I guess parents can compromise all the time, but I think for me it would be painful.
Well, I think, again, you have to be fully committed to what you're doing emotionally, because if you're not, the child will pick up on the fact there's
different messages
dissonance
in the family.
there, that you need to be aligned to create the secure foundation for the child's emotional development. I think you have to look at it that way. So even if you disagree, you'd have to come to some kind of compromise. You're both happily going along
And
that
you
path.
stick to that compromise for the child's
Which
sake.
might mean, in the papa's instance, he's not happy about it. Okay, well, you can be the part-time one that goes out with the nappy, or vice versa, whatever, you know. But I think you have to have the commitment to doing it. I think, like anything that you do with your children, you just have to be committed emotionally to it. Yeah.
Yeah. How did you feel to have, as a dad, the possibility doing something, especially like I felt when I was breastfeeding and having a small baby, and the dad always feels a little bit like, I can't do anything, but with elimination communication, there's a possibility. Hey, maybe she needs to pee too. Let's try it, you know? How does it feel for you?
I love being a dad. So I mean, for me, it's just, I love watching them grow and evolve, and I think it's all just incredible. I love watching all the tiny little motor skill milestones unraveling, and I'm always looking for that from a movement perspective and looking at those little physiological adaptations. So I think with the diaper stuff, it was incredible, because the way when people would ask me, yeah, but that's crazy what you're doing. I said, well, really? Have you owned a pet? And they're like, yeah. I say, well, you treat your cat and your dog with more respect than you do your child when it comes to training them to go to the toilet. So it's, you know, that, and we're meant to be the intelligent species. So why, you know, it's incredible how, so I just love watching the natural abilities, the innate stuff that we just it's Katharina, so it's all about and creating the appropriate environment for that stuff to flourish. Yeah. And so from a papa point of view, yeah, I'm on board with all the natural stuff. I think it's incredible. And
Tony loves barefoot kids and naked kids, and
yeah, and just watching
when
them.
it's warm and it's sunny, Tony just would strip all the clothes of the baby and just take them out, and you know, he just loves it.
It's just, I think it's just important. It's if I think back to my happiest moments as a child, it's all about nature. So everything I did in nature is my fondest memories and the most happiest experiences I had. So the closest I feel that we get to being in nature and reconnecting with it, of course, the happier it will be. So removing a plastic nappy that's restricting everything I could possibly want to offer, like in terms of motor skill milestones, has to be a positive, right? It's only going to connect them even more to who they innately should be. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like when you understand the baby and you manage to take them over a potty, it's like a success.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't enjoy it. Yeah.
You're so
She's
proud.
in the potty. She's 2 months old.
The thing that really stuck out for me that was the most just amazing thing, because I was flying back to Ibiza to be with Katharina and the kids at weekends. So I'd arrive either on a Friday and then leave on a Monday. So I got to see, like, by the weekend, how much had evolved and how much more she was expressing herself, I guess. And then we reached this point where Tallulah basically stood up quite early and was really solid in the way she would stand. And she'd wee on the floor, do something on the floor, but she knew already she'd go and pick something up and she'd wipe it up, and then put it away. It was incredible that she just, that's how powerful they are, you know. And we just remove all of that, so she could just look after herself already. By the time she learned to stand and go from a squat to a stand, even if she went to the toilet anyway, it didn't matter, because she'd just go, okay, I've just done that, I'll go and wipe it up. because no one created anything around it. It wasn't, oh, look what she's done, or she's done an accident, or highlighting it. It was just, okay, that's what happens. We just wipe it up and we take it away.
Yeah.
So she knew already, I just wipe it up and I take it away. And the progression from there was the potty, I guess, and then the toilet.
Yeah, she was 11 months old probably, and she was playing in a pool. And she just climbed out of the pool, squatted next to it, did pee, and then she went back into water. And she wasn't even one, and she knew she shouldn't be probably doing it in the water, so she went out.
Yeah.
She did it next to the pool, but she didn't do it in the water. I was just staring at her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah.
Wow, I love that. I love it. They are so capable of.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy.
We are so capable.
Yes.
Yes.
Because we're not separate, it's just one thing, we just, and that's how we coexist, I guess. We're learning more from them, really, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
Because we had all that stuff taken away. So if we had all that stuff taken away, we have to learn it again somehow.
Yes.
And the child is the closest thing to the wild being. We all need rewilding, right? Reconnecting, empowering, and they're powerful, wild, and connected,
Yes, yes.
We just mustn't take it away.
Just don't remove it in the first place,
Less is more.
Yeah, definitely.
I love it. Wow. Yes. She's hard to focus here.
Don't worry about it. You're doing great.
Simon, kannst du mir ein Spielzeug für sie bringen, bitte? She needs a toy. Sorry. That was German.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were a little bit about the people around you. Like, had you anyone, like what did your family or friends say? Do you have a community who's pretty the same way like you, or was it like, maybe social media?
Well,
online?
I think if I decided to do that with my first daughter, I would feel very, very lonely, because even like baby carrying at that time was still quite an alien thing for most of the people.
Mm-hmm.
But by the time we had our third daughter, people started being more open-minded. So I didn't come across any kind of criticism or like, nightmare reactions. But I didn't know personally any friend who would be doing it. All the support I got was just from books or internet. I didn't know personally. But then we moved into Ibiza when when the youngest one was 9 months, we moved to Ibiza. And there, because of different lifestyle and different community, I met people who did diaper-free baby approach. So it was then easier just to talk to them, or just even meet with moms and see them in an action, just like myself. Yeah. It was more supporting, I felt. Yeah, I felt, but I can imagine with first child, because I wasn't even confident to carry my baby, and luckily I met another mom who carried her baby, so I felt like, oh yes, let's stick to her. Because when most of your friends, when they have babies in the prams, you feel a bit kind of criticized and left out. But if you find one friend, you feel a bit, supported, and it helps you to get more confident. So with my third daughter, I was confident enough not to care about what people say. Yeah, but it was very helpful to have to meet personally someone who was doing the same. Yeah.
So a community is important and it helps you, but you still can do it even if you don't have someone.
You can, and then depends how kind of strong personality you are. Some people, like Tony, is more like, I don't care what people say. I'm still more like, well, maybe we should care a little bit what people say, So I feel supported by Tony in that sense, So some moms might be like, no, I'm doing it. Yes. Some moms might be like, oh, I wish I had more support. So I guess that depends on personality, but we can get support through internet, and we can get support through books.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah. So if somebody really wants to follow like natural approach and they don't know anybody personally, there is podcast, there is internet, there is Facebook, so there is the support if they need it.
Yeah, there's the conversation we're having now is part of that. So you can have a community outside of what would be the physical community. It still exists somewhere, which is better support than what we had originally. It wasn't available, whereas now it's growing. You know, social media, the positives of social media are there are communities out there that you can access and have advice from, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I like that. Yes. So you definitely have like-minded people online and offline nowadays.
Yeah, I think it grows, of course, you know, and then you start to, I think if you put the right vibe out there, you attract the right tribe, you know?
True.
It happens. It will happen over time. And if you're really committed to what you're doing, and again, that as Katharina said, you might have one of the partners might be, yeah, I'm doing this, and the other partner might be not too sure, but that's the beauty of that relationship, isn't it? It's the interdependence again of everything. Is that, and then other people might come into the tribe with another idea and something else that suddenly you'll go, oh, that's a great idea. And before that, it might have been two-way out there before, but it kind of levels things and it brings back into balance, I guess.
And actually, I remember I saw, I had 2 children and I saw another mom who had a boy who was 18 months old. And I used to go to like a play group and she would bring Potty with that 18-month-old boy and he didn't have nappy on. And I was just watching that mom, just by watching her, I already felt, yes, I should give this a go. Somebody else does it. I should do it as well. So sometimes, you know, we just start and we inspire other people, or we just give them different ideas into their head.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so important, actually, how much we learn by watching other people. It's the same with breastfeeding.
But encourage one another as well. And, you know, like give a message, look, this is not weird, this is normal.
Yeah.
And we spread that message just by doing it.
Yeah, there's biological norms and there's social norms. Right? I think that's the best measurement, isn't it?
And, you know, sometimes we are afraid of judgment. We are afraid people are judging us. But actually, there are people who are watching us. They may not even say anything to us and they feel inspired by us.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, and then our own vision of that might be, they're judging us. But yeah, exactly. They might be going, this is amazing. Unless you can read the mind.
I might be on the playground and you know, bring a little Potty with my 10 months old and 3 moms might think I'm crazy. But there will be one mom on the playground thinking, oh, wow, she's doing it. I'd love to do it as well.
The next one is coming.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
How old's this one?
The next one is Ruby Ophelia. What's its mama? Oh, no, she don't want to be seen. She just turned 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between them? 18 months?
Between the first and the second are, all right, 18 months and then 17 months.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow, that's close. Wow.
Yeah. But I love it. We love it.
Brilliant. Huh?
It's crazy, but it's beautiful. It's sometimes hard to, when we talk about needs, it's getting more difficult. Especially now with a 3 and a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
I'm excited how it will be in a few years.
Yeah.
Especially for my husband with 3 girls, but you know that point.
Oh, it's amazing. It really is.
Once they start playing, it gets so much.
Standing here, so he's listening.
And the beauty of them being so close is that they become best buddies, right?
Yeah.
They are, yeah.
When close in age, you know, then they're, you know, people used to ask, are they twins, you know, with Lola and Millie, because they were so tight, you know, really connected.
Yes.
And there was still a bit of space between them, you know, there's 2 years apart. But
They're already standing up for each other. It's crazy. At a story time or something, when another child comes along, especially the baby, the biggest one, is standing in front of her like, "This is my sister." So it's super cute. Yeah. Let's see. What did I want to say? Yeah, I do that. My husband is so interested in the position. You know, if a baby is laying, how often is it that parents just watch their baby doing this bicycle thing while changing, but having them laying flat on the ground, and you know what I mean? This difference. You mentioned this squatting when they came out of the pool, squatting down, and actually it's a similar position when we hold them.
Yeah.
While they're pretty young. So the difference between that. What are your thoughts on that?
I think you basically get them into, what we discovered is that really you want them to get to experience their body weight in their feet, so they're in a squat position. And then of course it's going to aid that position. That position aids pooping anyway.
Well, actually, when we had our first daughter, because Tony has been always into squatting, and he would, even before she could actually hold her head, so she must have been just 2 months old probably, he would kind of support her head and her spine with his chest. And he would take her legs and put them into squatting position, and she would just do the big pull in her nappy. And we thought, that's it, you know, it opens physically and biologically, that's the most natural position. So once I noticed that what Tony was doing with our first daughter, whenever I fed her, I gave her a feed, I would put her automatically in that position, and she would do poo in the nappy, and then I would change her. Yes, and then when they started solids at around 6 months, and when they had difficulties to go, that's what we did. We always had them in a squatting position. Yeah, it really, really helps. And actually, with my first daughter, I just became so confident. I started to change. I didn't even change them in lying position. As soon as they could hold their backs, which around 3 months, I just changed them in my arms. I learned how to change them in my arms. I could kind of hold them underneath the tummy and wipe them, and that was it, really. No more lying down and forcing children to stay still on the changing mat. Once I changed them on the tube in the corner very quickly.
You're practiced mom.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Yeah, I just recognized that you, with the feet on your hand, like you're holding it.
Yes.
Like I see a lot of pictures, and I have to say, even by myself, I haven't been aware of that part. When I hold her, the feet are just hanging down there, but sometimes they're getting really fuzzy about it, and you could see like it's not comfortable. So in my mind, it's just like they need how would you say that? The ground?
You need squatting. You need the squatting position.
They need to be grounded, They need their feet on the ground, and then they can, because when they can squat, that means the pelvis bones will open up, and of course that creates a gateway, isn't it? And then gravity. So then gravity is your friend, which then, it's like childbirth, isn't it? It's much easier well, I don't know from my own perception of it, but witnessing it a few times, I'd say squatting works best. Not that I'm relating pooping and baby and childbirth, but I think the squat's the most natural position to do it. That's what we would be doing in nature again. I wouldn't want to lie down on the floor and try and poop.
But Tony,
you know what I mean? Would it make sense?
He brought a picture home, and the picture showed how the last bone in the spine, how they push on the bowels when we sit down.
Yeah, the sacrum.
And how it opens up when we squat. So our bodies, we are designed to do it in a squatting position. So that's why people have all those Tony promotes the
Squatty Potty, you know, the Squatty Potty?
but the squatting desk we can put around it.
Yeah, the Squatty Potty.
Squatty Potty.
Yeah, so even for adults, you have the Squatty
you
Potty, which means you can squat on the loo, right? As an adult, which is equally as important. Yeah.
They are fake. It's sometimes too cute to watch them. How it's like, hey, I want that. Get away.
Yeah.
And they don't care that she's a baby. It's like she's still pushing her around like a big girl.
No, they
another being, you see.
They have to be very equal, no matter it's a baby.
Yes. Oh, wow. Yeah, let's keep that in mind. Like, grounding is important, and whenever it comes to let something out, squatting is right.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah. So, has elimination communication enriched your life, your relationship to each other and your kids?
I wouldn't say it enriched the relationship to each other.
No?
I don't think so. I think we just find it exciting trying all the natural methods.
Yeah.
But I do think it did enrich the relationship to our children, right? Just like
again,
accepting them, and it's just the wonder, like wondering, oh my God, how much are humans capable of, and just realizing if this is possible, just like this simple thing like going to the toilet, how much more are kids capable of, and we are not allowing them and enabling them. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So what would you say is maybe the funniest or even most beautiful story in your elimination communication life with your kids?
Well, I'll go back to what I explained earlier when Tallulah was already, you know, she'd go on the floor, she'd realise what she'd done, then she'd wipe it up and she'd put it away, because I was just in awe of it. It just, everything in that moment, I realised, oh my God, this is why we're doing it. That's why we went through that process. You know?
Yeah.
I'd say that was the moment for me when it all came together. Like, wow. Yeah, this is incredible.
It's like watching they're not even 1 year old, and you watch them how they run and they're nappy free and the freedom of it. And
but also we were living, we don't have sitting furniture, so you know, we weren't using sitting furniture, only with a sling. And so I got to witness other things like the motor skill milestones. There were more things available. I could see her movement capacity growing and growing and growing. So it was almost like everything we were doing, they were barefoot, you know, and just had freedom in a space because we had a lot of land there that they could run around on. And that, with having no nappy the majority of the time, just led to a free being. And then you really got to see the evolution of it. So, as I say, I think it really come together in that moment, that one wipe of the wee off the floor. Tallulah was like, wow, okay, look at this. This is something else, you know? Yeah, powerful.
It is. Yeah, that's the right word. It is powerful. Wow. Yeah. Would you have any final advice for viewers when it comes to like how would they start? What do they need? What should they keep in mind? Yeah.
like it's first advice is just don't be afraid, really. Not to be afraid, and also feel free to experiment, you know, if it's too daunting for first-time moms, or if people feel too daunting, just start from slow. Just start with having baby without napping for 2 hours at home, and during summer just start having baby without napping in the garden, and see how it goes and see how it makes you feel. And the more positive experience you have, the more confidence you get. I guess that's the advice.
Yeah.
Not to be scared and not to be worried about what people think, and just experiment, feel free.
Yeah.
Let your feelings guide you, and observe your baby. And
Yeah.
it's only a puddle on the floor anyways. What people are afraid of. It's just, yeah.
It doesn't matter what you, oh, well, I'm using closed diapers, so for me, it doesn't matter what I wash. If it's a
Exactly.
diaper, it's,
Yeah.
I don't care. Yeah. Yes. So it's even another advice, like trusting in the kids. We can watch them grow and learn so much. Also, that we don't have to care. If they're running around naked, they don't think about what other people could think.
Yes, yeah, that's true.
Living and enjoying life, and it's really.
Yeah.
Yes. 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 I think she agrees.
She agrees.
She does. There you go. Freedom. Yeah.
She doesn't like wet nappy.
Yeah.
No, definitely not.
Change it immediately. Even if you use it, just change it immediately.
Cheers. Right? I just have another question. Did you practice elimination communication during the night? We just started really like doing it more often while she's really moving a lot.
No, I didn't. I decided during the night I would just use nappy. Yeah. I just
sleep is important.
I just said I have nobody to show me. I have nobody to teach me during the night, and I stopped using nappies when, let's say, 4 times a week my daughter would wake up with dry nappy and she would go to toilet, which happened with all of them before when they too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
So then that was the moment when I would give up on nappy and just, put up with washing sheets occasionally. Yeah.
But really rare.
Occasionally, seriously, yeah.
Yeah. It even happens later, I think.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I think you answered all without.
There we go.
Good.
It's a wrap.
Yeah, crazy. Super good. I love it.
Brilliant.
Yes, you're really inspiring, guys. I love to get the chance to talk to you.
Thank you.
And where's this going out? Where's it heading out to?
I will send you the link. I will put it on my YouTube channel.
Yeah. Great.
We just started, so don't expect something big there.
Right.
But I think it's the best platform to save this and making it possible for as much as possible viewers, and maybe inspiring and having people never heard about it and now feel a little more confident to start that way too.
Yeah, and the more people you get on here talking about it, the better. Because again, it helps grow that online platform community that maybe isn't available in a real community for others, Yes. Definitely. Really important. Well done.
Yeah. That's a good thing on the online community nowadays.
Yeah, definitely. I've met some incredible people through Instagram. Just incredible people I wouldn't have met otherwise. Well, maybe the universe might have aligned it a different way, but at the moment the universe is aligning it with Instagram for me, So and that's then just opening me up to new things all the time. As long as I think you have your filter that you approach things with, which for us is just a natural filter. If it exists in nature, then it's great, right? So I think a platform like what you're doing, I think super well done. I think it's a great thing to be doing.
Yeah, that's the community.
Yeah.
Yes, we need that. And that's why we started this week. It was just out of nothing. I heard in the United States, there's from, I don't know, her name's Olsen. She wrote the book Go Diaper Free. And she's having this week. And I knew in the European Baby Wearing Week and all that kind of stuff. And then I thought, well, there's nothing about elimination communication. So let's do it. So I had a friend, and I'm an elimination communication coach.
Okay, well done. Yep.
Yes. So I really do workshops and go out to people in our community. And so I have another friend who's doing the same. And we just got together via WhatsApp and like, let's start that. And she's right now in Brazil. And I'm in the United States, and we're running that in Germany, and it's crazy, but we have so good feedback, and we just enjoy to see how new people are really getting in touch with this topic. And yeah, that's why we just need to spread the word about the possibility. There's so many babies out there where moms think they have colics or, you know, like having trouble with gas and all that kind of stuff, and it's actually just a good kid telling you, I need to go to the potty now.
Yeah.
That's all about it. How easy will life for so many parents if they know about that?
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
People find it inconvenient, but actually it makes your life so convenient.
Yeah, over time, the bigger picture is the convenience. Yeah.
It's just easier.
How much easier it is if you don't have a crying baby. They're about, it's too stressful, too much work, but actually it's making life easier.
Yeah, baby carrying.
But in terms of the bigger picture, we have to get to this understanding. The bigger picture is that it's emotionally imbalancing your child by just getting to that point where they're upset, they're crying, and if you're not matching their needs, they feel like they're not being heard. And as that child grows and develops, then they're almost like micro traumas that you're putting into your child by allowing them to cry or allowing them to scream, you see.
Yes.
So the bigger picture is, get as close you can to getting all the needs met. And again, you'll have emotional well-being when they're older,
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Yeah. Little micro adjustments and micro needs met, brilliant. There you go.
Baby steps. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, she's dancing and standing and trying to get the computer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's been great.
Wonderful.
Super.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Good luck with everything.
Very early start for you. Yeah.
Yes, it started to get lighter outside.
Yeah, great. Okay. So,
right.
Thanks for waking up so early, and thanks for having us on the show. And stay in contact.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Take it easy.